Dear God in heaven,
Mwari kudenga,
we thank you for your great love to us.
tinokutendai nerudo
We
rwenyu.
thank you for especially the leadership that you've
Tinokutendai
given to us to
neutungamiriri
help us to
hwamakatipa
learn
kuti
the
tibetserekane
way that you
kudzidza
would
nzira iyo.
understand these very
Tinonzwisisa
life and death issues that we
maissues
have to
aya
go through
eupenyu kana kufa atiri
to see
kutsangana
as
nawo,
you would have us to see.
kuti
To
timaone
see what
sezvamunoda
heaven
kuti
is made up
timaone,
of.
kuti tione kuti denga
Help us to
rakagadzirwa
see
sei.
it this side of the kingdom and know
Tibetserei
that
tizvione kudivi
we can
rino
have a little
reumambo
heaven on
hwenyu.
this earth. We please be with all of
Ivaiwo
those that are listening this evening.
neavo vanga varipo
Pray that they will hear
muzuva
what the
ranhasi
Spirit saith.
vagonzwawo
Please
zvinotaura
be
mweya.
with Terrie as
Ivai
she
naTerrie
presents,
paanenge achipresenta,
and that you will give her the words that
mumupewo
we need
mashoko
to
atinonida
bring us to your kingdom.
kutiunza kuumambo
So we leave
hwenyu.
ourselves now in your care and keep.
Tozvisiya
To your glory
mumaoko
and honor we
enyu,
pray in Jesus' name.
tonamata
Amen.
muzita raJesu, amen.
So we're going to start with a verse. We're going to start with 1 Corinthians
Tichatanga
chapter
nevhesi
14,
1
32 and
Corinthians
33.
14 verse
This is a
32
verse we used to
na33.
use a
Ivhesi
lot
yataishandisa
going back
zvakanyanya kare
once upon a time.
patakambotanga.
So 1 Corinthians 14,
1 Corinthians
32 and
14 verse
33.
32 na 33.
And who would like to read that?
Ndiani anoda kutiverengerawo?
Marilyn, I see your audio's on. Have you got it?
Yeah.
Thank you. If you could read that.
Tiverengerewo.
For ye may all prophesy one by one.
Munogona kuprofita
Sorry,
mese.
Marilyn. 1 Corinthians 14,
Vakorinte
32 and
vekutanga
33.
14 vhesi ya 32 na
32
33.
and 33. I thought. Oh, that's 30. Oh, it's 32. Yeah, okay. And the spirits of the prophets are subject to the prophets.
Mweya yavaprofita
God is not the
itori
author of
subject
confusion,
kuvaprofita.
but of
Mwari
peace,
havasi author
as in
weconfusion,
all churches
asi
of the
wepeace.
Thank you.
Kumakereke ose
So could I have a
evatendi.
volunteer to explain or put in
Pana
their
anoda
own
kuti
words
tsanangurira
what
here
verse
kuchiisa
32 is saying?
mazwi
Just
aanonzwisisa kuti
32.
32
Put in
iri
your
kuti
own words
kudii.
what verse 32
Tichiisa
is
mumazwi
saying.
edu vhesi ya 32 iri
What is
kuti
Paul
kudii.
talking about?
Po ari kumbotaura nezvei?
What does it mean?
Zvinorevei?
Spirits of the prophets are subject to the
Mweya
prophets.
yevaprofita inototeerera vaprofita.
Is it witnesses?
Inyaya yemawitness
They're
here
witnesses,
kuti vari mawitness,
so they're subject to them.
saka vari subject kwavari.
What does it mean then to be subject to them?
Zvinorevei kuti subject
So
to
that
them?
their witness they'll be a witness and confirm that what has been said is correct.
Anenge ari mawitness kuti zvataurwa
So how are they going to witness
saka achawitnessa
that
sei
what has been said is
kuti
correct?
zvataurwa ishoko razvokwadi?
I guess they would be doing line upon line.
Ndofunga kuti vanenge vachiita line upon line.
And what's the principle behind line upon line?
Saka principle iri paseri peline
Because all
upon
the
line
prophets in the Bible
ndeyechii?
aren't drawing lines on blackboards.
Nekuti havasi
What
vese
are they
vamaprofita
doing?
mubhaibheri vari kudrowa maline
You're
pamaboard.
right. I'm
Uri
just trying
correct,
to tease out
asi
a
ndoda
different
kuti
answer.
titore
going,
answer iri
Marie.
different kuti vari
So
kunyatsoitei.
they're witnessing of each other
Saka
by
vari
doing what?
kuwitnessera umwe achiwitnessera umwe. Vari kuita izvi vachiburikidza nekuita sei?
They're repeating what has already been prophesied.
Vari kudzokorodza zvakatoprofitwa kudhara.
Yes. And what is our rule?
iroro ru
What
nderipi?
is the principle behind line upon line?
Principle iri kuseri
The
kweline
witness
upon
of two or
line
three,
ndechi?
the testimony of two or three.
Ndeyekuti testimony yevaviri kana
Testimony of two
vatatu
or three, something is
chinhu
established. That's the
chinobva
signature of God.
chaestablishwa, ndo signature yaMwari.
So when it says that the
Painoti
spirits of the prophets
mweya
are subject to
yevaprofita
the
iri
prophets,
subject
it means that they all
kuvaprofita,
agree.
zvoda kuti vese vanotenderana, vane
Moses is
sungawirirana.
subject to Paul.
Moses ari subject
Paul
kuna
is
Paul.
subject
Paul
to
ari subject
Hosea.
kuna Hosea.
Hosea is subject to
Hosea ari
Christ.
subject kuna Kristu.
Christ is subject to Ellen White.
Kristu ari subject kuna Ellen
They
White.
all agree.
Vese
Not
vanotenderana.
putting Christ on the same level as Ellen White,
Vanzikuisa Kristu
but as a
pasame
prophet,
level
they all have
saEllen
to agree
White,
with
asi
each other.
semuprofita
They're
vese
subject
vanofana
to one another.
kutenderana, vari
By the
subject
testimony of two, a thing is
neumwe neumwe.
established. They, as you
Patestimony
said, Marie,
yevaviri
they are
chinhu
witnesses of one
chinoestablishwa.
another by
Mawitness,
repeating it.
umwe
And when they
anowitnesera
repeat
umwe
it, they
achiwitnesera
repeat
umwe.
it differently. But
Vanodzokorodza
the
asi
principle is the
pavanodzokorodza
same. They're
vanodzokorodza
saying the same thing in
zvakasiyana, asi
different
principle
words.
ndiyo imwe chete. Vari
So the
kutaura chinhu chimwe
spirits
chete
of the
mazwi
prophets, that
akasiyana.
is
Mweya
their
yemaprofita,
message
meseji
agrees
yavo
with another's
inotenderana
message.
neyemumwe,
For God is not the author of
nekuti Mwari
confusion.
haasi muvambi weconfusion.
Let's do that.
Ngatirape apa tione toita sei.
God is not the author of confusion. Who is
Mwari
the
haasi
author
author
of confusion?
weconfusion. Ano author confusion
I hear
ndiani?
you all saying. So
Ndanzwa
Satan
kuti Satan.
is the author of confusion.
Satan ndiye anonyora confusion yese, ndiye muvambi weconfusion
What
yese.
is God the author of?
Mwari muvambi wechii?
If he doesn't author confusion,
Kana
what does he author?
asingagadziri
Peace.
confusion anogadzira chii? Runyararo.
Is the author of peace.
Mwari ndiye anovamba peace.
In fact, allow me to put it on top.
Nditenderei kuzvinyora pamusoro.
What's the word in the Bible that we associate with
Izwi
confusion?
bhaibheri ratinoshandisa richiasosietwa neconfusion nderipi?
Babylon, Tower of Babel.
Babylon kana Tower
Yes,
of Babylon.
we get that
Hongo.
confusion
Tinoona
from the Tower of
confusion
Babel.
kubva
Babylon.
paTower of
Babylon means it's
Babylon.
confusion.
Babylon
Babel.
zvinoreva kuti confusion,
And so
babbling.
Babylon,
Saka
you know
Babylon,
what? I haven't given myself way enough room. I'm going to have to start this again. Okay, then what is the word that I'm going to place up here on this line?
saka izwi randichaisa pamusoro
Jerusalem.
apa nderipi? iJerusalem.
Why?
Nemhaka
Catherine?
yei,
Because
Catherine?
it's got the word peace in it, like shalom.
Nekuti kune runyararo mariri
City of
inonzi
peace.
Shalom,
Pray for the peace of
guta
Jerusalem.
rerunyararo.
They that prosper
Namatirai
shall
runyararo
serve
kuguta
thee. Peace be
reJerusalem.
within thy walls and thy
Peace
palaces.
be
A
within
city
thy
of
walls.
peace.
Guta rerunyararo.
So we want to know more
Toda
about
kuziva
Babylon.
zvizhinji
That
pamusoro peBabylon.
we looked at the Tower of Babel.
Takatarisa
So
Tower
I'm going to be
yeBabylon.
mean and I'm going to pick on
yeBabel.
Lynn.
Saka
Because Lynn and I
ndichatarisa
had a conversation recently.
chadaidza Lynn.
So I'm hoping it
Ndinovimba
comes to your
kuti
memory, Lynn.
unorangarira conversation
Lynn, walk
yatakaita.
us through the definition of Babylon. I want 3 verses.
Tibetserewo nemavhesi matatu
Okay.
anodefina Babylon.
So, first of all,
Saka
we wanted
chekutanga
to
taida
identify what Babylon was.
kuidentifya kuti
And
Babylon
from
chii.
memory, that was that great city. And
Kubva
we can
mumemory,
go to Revelation
Babylon, that great
14:8.
city. Tikabva
for
kuna
that.
Revelation
You
14:8.
want me to read that?
No, you can tell us.
the
So
verse actually-
Revelation 14:8.
Revelation
Okay.
14 verse ya 8.
So Revelation 14:8 is basically just
Tiri
talking about
kungotaura kuti
they followed another angel, and then
kune
it's saying that
mugirosi
Babylon is
inotevera
fallen, that great city.
Babylon
So therefore,
rawa
that's how
guta
we can
guru.
determine Babylon is that
Saka
great city.
tinoziva kuti
And
Babylon
then
ndiro
we go
guta
back
guru iroro.
to
Todzokera
Revelation
kuna Revelation
16,
16.
and we go further down in
Tozoenda
that
ku
chapter first,
chapter
just to
iyoyo
get a little bit
Tichida
more information
kungonzwisisawo
about what that city
zvimwe
was,
zvokuti guta iroro rari
and
richi.
that was in Revelation
Kwakuri kuna Revelation 16
16:19.
verse 19.
In there it talks about the great
Imomo
city
kunotaura zveguta
being
guru
divided into 3 parts,
richipatsanurwa mumapoka matatu.
and that was important. So then
Zvazvakakosha.
there was the third one.
Pane
You go
rimwe vhesi
further back into
rechitatu,
verse 16 still. It was
tiri
16:13,
chapter 16
and there
toenda
it
verse
describes what the
13.
3 parts are.
Inotiudza
And
kuti
it talks
mapoka
about the
matatu
unclean
aya
frogs,
ndaapi.
but basically what we've got
Matasha
is
akasina
this is the
kuchena aya
identification of the dragon, the beast, and the
tozoidentifya
false
dragon,
prophet.
beast neFalse
So
prophet.
we know that 3
Awesome,
parts of
Saka tinoziva
Babylon were
kuti
really divided into those 3
Babylon yakapatsanurwa
parts.
mumapatsi matatu iwayo.
Dragon, beast, and I'll just write this for room. False
Dragon,
prophet.
beast
The
nemuprofita
3 parts
wenyama
of that great
ndo
city.
mapoka matatu eguta
Thank you.
guru
Excellent
irori
work.
waita basa.
Okay, so Babylon
Saka Babylon
means confusion,
zvoreva kuti
and when we look
confusion.
further, it's divided
Patinotarisa
into 3
kumberi tinoona
parts.
kuti yakapatsanurwa mumapoka matatu.
Now, 1 Corinthians 14:32
First
said that the
Corinthians
spirits of the
14:32
prophets are
inoti
subject to the
mweya
prophets. So God's
vaprofita iri
prophets
subject
agree.
kumaprofita. Saka maprofita aMwari anotenderana.
If God's got prophets
Kana Mwari aine
in Jerusalem,
maprofita kuJerusarema,
Satan's got prophets
Satan
in
ane
Babylon,
maprofits
and what will
kuBabylon.
characterize Satan's
Chii
prophets?
chinokarakitariza maprofita aSatan?
They will agree.
They will agree
Mwati vanotenderana
or they won't agree.
kana kuti havatenderani?
Well, I said they will agree because it's he's always copying off God's kingdom, but they probably won't.
Vanoteedzera
When I think
kingdom
about it.
yaMwari.
What does Babylon
Saka
mean?
ndandati vanotenderana.
Confusion.
Asi nekuda
So do you
kwokuti
think they're
Babylon
going
inoreva
to agree
confusion,
or
vanenge
not agree?
vasingatenderani.
And not agree.
Havatenderani.
They're not going to agree. That's why there's confusion.
Ndosaka kuine
Why was there
confusion.
confusion in the Tower
Sei
of Babel?
kukanga kuine confusion kutawa
Because they're
yeBhabha
all saying different
nekuti vese
things.
vava kutaura zvakasiyana.
So, if you think of the great
Ukafunga
controversy,
maererano neGreat Controversy,
Ellen White talks
Ellen White
about the
paanotaura
dragon
nezvedragon,
will reach its I'm paraphrasing, I can't remember the exact
Ndakuparaphrase.
order, but one reaches their arm across the chasm and the other reaches their arms across an abyss.
kuti
That
mwanotambanudza
means that they
ruoko
have
pachasm
profound
umwe
differences
paabyss.
between
Vane
them.
madifferences
They are going to
akatosiyana.
unify for a brief
Vanobatana
period of time, but it'll only be
vachinguvana,
brief.
asi zvine zviri
But there
kwenguva
are
shoma
profound
shoma,
differences.
asi vane madifferences
So,
ari profound.
Between the three,
Pakati pevatatu
there are
ava
disagreements.
vane
They do not
kusawirirana,
agree. They don't give
havatenderani,
witness to each other.
havapi witness
And
kune
within
umwe neumwe.
themselves,
Pakati
they
pavo
have disagreements.
vane kusawirirana.
But when we looked at
Asi patakatarisa,
when we looked at Daniel 8,
patakatarisa Daniel 8,
we divided these up into
takapatsanura
3
izvi
religions.
mareligion matatu.
So the religion of the dragon, remember, is
Religion yedragon
spiritualism.
ranga raiuti takati spiritualism.
The beast is Catholicism.
Yebeast iCatholicism.
False Protestants.
False
prophet
prophet
is apostate Protestantism.
apostate Protestantism.
And there are profound chasms, abysses between them.
Pane
Even though we've got mum
mukaha
and
uri
daughter,
pakati pavo,
they don't
nyangwe
agree.
vaine
They are
mwana
going to
akafanana
unify on
havatenderani.
something.
Vanobatana pane chimwe chinhu
So,
asi.
The spirits of Satan's prophets
Mweya
are not
wemaprofita
subject
aSatan
one to another.
havasi subject umwe kune umwe,
So what we want to
havawirirani.
make clear is
Chatoda
that
kujekesa ndechekuti
when we looked at the counterfeit,
patakatarisa
Daniel chapter
counterfeit
8,
kuna Daniel chapter 8,
we saw that the counterfeit
takaona
runs
kuti
close to the
counterfeit
truth.
inofambirana pedyo
So we see
nechokwadi.
things
Saka
like
tunoona zvinhu zvakaita
self-promotion,
sekunge
self-exaltation,
self-exaltation kana
and what was the other?
self-promotion. Imwe yacho
Self-preservation,
yaiva
all
self-preservation.
characteristics of Satan's
Macharacteristics
kingdom.
ese
And it is
ekingdom
a
yaSatan.
counterfeit of God's kingdom.
i-counterfeit ye-kingdom
But
ya
in
Mwari.
God's kingdom, it's not
Mkingdom ya
self that gets
Mwari
promoted, it's not
haisi
self that gets
munhu
exalted, and it's not self that preserves. Okay, God does all of those for his
promota
people. So we
haazvipromoti
looked
Mwari
at
ndiye
the
anopromota
counterfeit.
munhu. Takatarisa counterfeit inozvisimudzira, asi kwaMwari, Mwari ndiye anosumudzira munhu.
So when we come to here, when we're looking at
Patinosvika
these, we
apa
understand that each
tinonzwisisa
of
kuti
these is a
chimwe
counterfeit.
nechimwe cheizvi
When we did
i-counterfeit.
Daniel 8, we
Patakaita
recognized
Daniel
that the
8
spiritualism
takaona kuti
is the daily,
spiritualism ndiyo the daily,
it's the
ndiyo
continual,
continual,
the hatamid, the continual, the
hatamin continual,
the gadal,
gadao
self-exaltation that was from the
kuzvisimudzira iwe
beginning and
munhu,
continues all the way
inoramba
through.
ichienderera
And then we
mberi
saw
kusvika
that
kwokupedzera.
Catholicism is just
Tikaona
another
kuti
version
Catholicism
of
ndo
the
imwe
daily
version
as well,
ye-the
of
daily,
daily, and so is apostate Protestantism. So the
nezvakare
daily is going
apostate
to continue
Protestantism.
through, but it
Daily
will get called different
ichakontinue,
names. When
asi
it
inenge
becomes
ichipiwa mazita
Catholicism, it's
akasiyana.
going to be called
Painova
the abomination
Catholicism
that
inenge
maketh
yakunzi
desolate.
abomination that
But it's
maketh
just another
desolate.
version of the
Ingori imwe
daily,
version
the
ye-the
continual.
daily kana the continual.
All of these
Zvese izvi
entities
maentity ese
are beasts.
mabeasts.
So the dragon
Saka
is
dragon
a beast.
chikara,
The false prophet
muprofita
is
wenhema
a beast.
chikara,
It's the lamb-like beast.
ndiro lamb-like
And
beast.
this one is the beast.
Iro repakati
So a
ndiro
dragon
the
is a
beast.
beast.
Saka dragon chikara,
False prophet is a beast.
muprofita wenhema chikara.
And we have the
Tozova
beast.
neCatholicism
The
ndiyo
only
inonzi the
difference is in
beast.
their names in the sense
Zvakangosiyana
that these are
mazita avo
common nouns
nekuti aya
and that's a
macommon,
proper noun.
aya maviri macommon nouns, iri
That
repakati proper
they're all
noun.
beasts.
Ese
Like
mabeast
they're all the
zvikara,
daily,
vese
they just have
vemadaily
different
vanongori
versions of their names
nemaversions
and
akasiyana
manifest themselves
emazita avo,
differently, but
vanozvimanifesta
they are
zvakasiyana,
essentially
asi vese
have
vangori
the same characteristics
nemacharacteristics
of a
akafanana
counterfeit.
ecounterfeit.
So they
Saka
are all counterfeits.
vese macounterfeits.
They are all explained in Daniel
Vese
chapter 8. So
vanotsanangurwa
the
muna Daniel
dragon is a
8.
counterfeit.
Dragon i-counterfeit.
The false prophet
False
is a
prophet
counterfeit.
i-counterfeit.
And this one is the counterfeit.
Yepakati ndiyo the counterfeit.
So I just want to I try and make clear that
Ndoda
they're
kungojekesa
all
kuti vese
counterfeits. It's
macounterfeit.
just that we
Ngoti
focus on
takanyanyofokasa
the
zvizhinji
counterfeit.
pane the
But they are all
counterfeit, asi
counterfeits.
vese macounterfeit.
Just like the
Si
dragon is
zvakangoita kunge
the
dragon
daily,
ndiyo the
and yet
daily,
they're all
asi
daily.
vese madaily.
Any thoughts?
Pane ane kumwe kufunga here?
Ray?
Ray?
Elder Terrie,
Elder Terrie.
is it? Should we think of the two,
Tofana
like the
kufunga
dragon and
here
the false
nezve
prophet,
dragon na-false prophet
as like a copy of the copy?
senge
You know, so like if you have the
copy
first
ya
copy, it
copy.
would be like
Kuti paine first
fairly
copy
close to the original,
inenge
but
yakafanana
then each
neoriginal.
subsequent copy is
Then
going to get less and
copies
less accurate.
anoramba
Does that make sense? Or
achiita less accurate pakufanana neoriginal. Ndizvo
is
here
that not really
kana kuti hazvisizvo?
a right way to think?
Think of it more like children.
Ngatizvifungei
If
sevana.
you look at a family, you can look at
Ukasangana
the children and
nefamily,
go, you can tell who
ukatarisa
their parents
vana,
are.
unoziva
The
kuti vabereki
children
vavo
look
ndevapi.
like,
Vana vacho
mum and dad,
vakafanana namai nababa,
but they look different to each
asi
other. There's
vese vakasiyana.
similarities.
Pane masimilarity poita
Yeah, right.
So you wouldn't call
difference.
one child
Saka
more of a child
hausoti
of its parents than the
umwe
other
mwana
child.
ndiye akanyanyoita mwana
You can
wevabereki
look at
ake.
those children and you know
Unogona
where they've
kungotarisa
come
vese
from,
vakasiyana asi unoziva kwavanobva.
even though there's
Kunyange
differences.
paine siyano.
Does
That makes
help?
sense. Yeah, thank you.
Zvinomeka sense maita basa.
If we consider Jerusalem
Tikatarisa Jerusalem,
and we think of
totarisa
the three
tofunga
persons of the Godhead, think
nezveutatu
of, and I'll use the
hwaMwari.
biblical terms, the Father, the
Tishandisa
Son,
mazwi
and the Holy
emuBhayibheri
Spirit.
kuti
The Bible
Baba,
says God
Mwanakomana
is Spirit.
neMweya Mutsvene.
So the Father is Spirit,
Bhaibheri rinoti
the
Mwari
Son
mweya.
is Spirit,
Saka
who
Mwari
dwells
Baba
in a temple
mweya.
of flesh. the incarnation,
Jesu mweya
and there
unogara
is
mutempo
the
yeflesh,
Holy Spirit.
pozoita the
proper
Holy
noun.
Spirit, proper noun.
When we talk about the Father being Spirit, we use a common
Patinotaura
noun.
Baba
When we talk
ari
about the
Spirit,
Holy
tongoshandisa
Spirit, it becomes
macommon
a
noun.
proper noun.
Patinozoti the
A little
Holy
bit of
Spirit,
grammar on the
proper noun.
end of a long week. It's a bit of a pain, isn't it? But we do that in
Tinozviita
different ways
munzira dzakasiyana
with other things as well.
nezvimwe
We
zvinhu
have to be able to
zvakasiyana.
recognize when something is
Tofana
a proper
kuona
noun
kuti
and
proper
when
noun
something is a common noun.
chii,
So
common noun
when
chii.
we're looking at atheism,
Patinotarisa tikutarisa
we're
atheism,
looking at something that comes under the heading of the
kutarisa chinhu
dragon,
chinotarisa
under the umbrella of the dragon.
chinoenda
That
paumbrella
the dragon will
yedragon.
have numerous
Dragon ine
examples
maexamples akawanda-wanda
of itself, of
ayo
the daily.
pachezvayo
It is
edaily,
a beast power.
ibeast power,
It is a counterfeit. So as we're
icounterfeit.
looking at
Saka patinenge
atheism,
tichitarisa
we're looking at
atheism,
a counterfeit.
tikutarisa
It is
counterfeit.
going to be counterfeiting
Ichange ichitevedzera
God's kingdom,
umambo
but it's not
hwaMwari.
the counterfeit.
Haisiriyo the
In the sense when
counterfeit.
we study,
Kana
say, the Midnight Cry
tichidzidza
message
kana kuti
or
Midnight Cry message,
the movements
kana
that
zvinhu
this
zvatinodzidza
term
movement
uses.
nematenzi
So we
ainoshandisa.
understand that
Saka izvi
the false
tinozvinzwisisa
prophet
izvi
is also a
false prophet
counterfeit.
itoriwo counterfeit pachezvayo.
So when we're looking at atheism,
Patinotarisa atheism,
we should be able to
tinofana
see
kugona kuona
aspects,
maaspects
characteristics of what we're studying
nemacharacteristics
that are mimicking
ezvinhu
God's
zvatiri
kingdom,
kuti zviri
just in a
kutevedzera
different
umambo
way,
hwaMwari
like it's a different
nenzira
child
yakasiyana sezvo
than
paine
the
mwana
counterfeit
akasiyana,
does.
the counterfeit nezvainoita.
So, any thoughts?
Pana ane dzimwe pfungwa here?
No, but you also answered another question I was going to ask,
Matopindura
which is
mubvunzo
what would be the three
wandandichazobvunza
parts of
wekuti
Jerusalem.
mapasi matatu eJerusarema ndeapi?
So thank you.
Saka maita basi.
Okay. So, when we consider Ted Wilson's sermon
Patinotarisa sermon
and
yaTed
really
Wilson,
the main focus of the
focus
mainstream Seventh-day
yake
Adventist
kana
Church, it
ye-mainstream
focuses on
Adventist
the
Church
counterfeit
inofocasa
and doesn't
pacounterfeit.
really see what's
Hainyatsi
happening with the
kuona
other
kuti zvii zviri
counterfeits as well.
kuitika nemama-counterfeits
So we
zvakare.
know that they were
Saka
all going
tinoziva
to
kuti vese
join
vachazobatana
hands across the chasms and
maoko
across the abysses,
vachitambanudza
but
pachasm
they don't
nemaabhisi
agree.
havatenderani.
And like the Tower of Babel, it will
Setower
all
of
come
Babel
crashing down
zvose
because
zvinouya
they can't
zvichiondomoka zvichidonha pasi
keep it up.
nekuti hazvigoni
Okay,
kuitwa
so
keep up.
that's all I wanted to say
Ndozvana
there.
ndida kungotaura ipapapa.
So atheism.
Saka totarisa atheism.
Seeing we're talking about atheism,
Tikutaura nezveatheism.
no. Just share screen. This is an article
Iyi article
from the National Geographic.
kubva kuNational Geographic.
It's from 2016, and it says the world's newest major religion
Yekuna
is no religion.
2016 inoti
As
major
secularism
religion
grows,
yenyika. Apo
atheists and
secularism
agnostics are trying to
ichikura,
expand and
maatheist
diversify their ranks.
nemaagnostic vari kutsvisa maoko
So-
expand
We'll just read a little bit. You don't
vachidiversify
usually think of churches as
maranks
going out of
avo.
business, but it happens.
Haufungi kuti chechi
In
yakubuda
March,
mubusiness asi
driven by
zvaakuitika.
parishioner deaths and lack of interest,
Muna March
the
zvichidrivwa
UK
neparishioner
Mennonites held their
deaths
last
nelack
collective
of interest.
service.
UK
It might seem easy to predict that plain dressing Anabaptists who follow a faith related to the Amish would become irrelevant in the age of smartphones, but this is part of a larger trend. Around the world, when asked about their feelings on religion, more and more people are responding with a meh. The religiously unaffiliated, called Nones, are growing significantly. They're the second largest religious group in North America and most of Europe. In the United States, Nones make up almost a quarter of the population. In the past decade, US Nones have overtaken Catholics, mainline Protestants, and all followers of non-Christian faiths. So this is a group that's worth taking notice of.
iboka
They're a large group.
rinoita kuti tigone kuritarisa. Iboka rine vanhu
Shows some
vakawanda.
maps here, how it's
Pane
growing,
mamaps nekuti riri kukura sei,
and where it's not.
kwariri
So it's not
nekwarisiri.
growing in Africa.
Harisi kukura kuAfrica,
And it will go on to explain why parts of the
tichataura
world
kuti
it's not
chichiexplaina
growing.
kuti sei paine
And I'll
mapatsi
just-
enyika ayo risiri
Atheism's
kukura.
diversity problem.
Atheism ine problem
So,
yekudiversify.
As atheism grows
Apo
as
atheism
its own
ichikura
movement,
semovement
it is not cohesive,
haisi
as we read in
cohesive
a study last time,
sezvatakaverenga muchidzidzo last
and it
time.
is very much white. The Centre for
Iri
Inquiry
white
in Washington,
zvakanyanya.
D.C. hosts a regular happy hour called Drinking Skeptically. On a Wednesday in late March, about a dozen people showed up to faithlessly imbibe, and all but one were white. And this will go on to explain how it's largely a white movement.
Zvichatsanangura kuti yakanyanya kuwanda vanhu
The
vechichena.
secularizing West, they will talk about. And here it will
West
say
iri
the
kusecularize.
privilege of not
Vanotaurawo
believing.
privilege yekusatenda.
So why, well, let me read. There are a few theories about why people become atheists in large numbers. Some demographers attribute it to financial security, which would explain why European countries with a stronger social safety net are more secular than the United States, where poverty is more common and a medical emergency can bankrupt even the insured. Atheism is also tied to education, measured by academic achievement. Atheists in many places tend to have college degrees or general knowledge of the panoply of beliefs around the world. Hence theories that internet access spurs atheism. So the more people get educated and the more
Apo
they
vanhu
have financial
vanodzidza,
security,
apo vanenge
the
vaine
less they
financial
need
security,
God.
havachadiwo
So we see
kuona
that more in
zvamwari.
Western nations.
Tinozviona kuma-Western
The
nations.
other thing is,
Chimwe chinhu
and it talk
ndechekuti
here about women. Around the
vanotaura
world, the Pew Research
nezvemadzimai.
Centre finds that women tend to be more likely to affiliate with a religion and more likely to pray and find religion important in their lives. And
Kuti
why is that?
madzimai vanorerekera
Lack of religion,
kunamata
lack of
nekuti
education,
havana
and
dzidzo
lack of financial
uye havana
security.
financial security yakawanda.
So
Saka
fewer have economic opportunities
vashoma vane
and less
ma-economic
exposure to a
opportunities
worldview that does not require the presence of God.
vanobva vaona world view
So
isingadi
religion has a place for women,
presence
people
yaMwari.
of colour and the poor. By its nature, secularism is open to all, but it's not always as welcoming. And then it will go on to talk about the humanist movement's most visible figures, which we've talked about.
Yozotaurawo
Elder Tess has talked
nezvemahumanists
about in Vespers.
akataurwa naelder
Sam
Tess,
Harris, Richard Dawkins, Christopher
Vespers.
Hitchens. They're not
Vana
welcoming to
Sam
women.
Harris vaya nana Richard Dawkins
So-
havanyanyi kuokama madzimai.
So there's just an interesting article
Pane
that
article
shows
iri
the
interesting
growth of
inoratidza kukura
atheism and gnomes
kweatheism
across the world. The dragon
nemanons
power is
pasitenderere.
large
Dragon
and
power
influential.
yakakura uye iri
It is
influential.
white and
Yakawanda vanhu
male.
vechichena uye
largely.
varume kazhinji
So what
kazhinji.
we've been looking at
Chatatiri
when we
kutarisa
consider
patinotarisa
this counterfeit
counterfeit iyi
is one
iyi
aspect,
aspect imwe
one
chete
particular outgrowth
kukura
of the dragon, and
kwedragon
it involves three
zvichiinvolva zvinhu zvitatu:
parts: philosophy,
philosophy,
technology,
technology,
oh. Sorry, that will help, and elites,
nema-elites,
or as that article said, the
kana kuti vanhu
privileged,
vekumusoro-soro
those
vari
with
privileged,
money.
vaya vane mari.
And they come together
Vanouya
and
pamwe
they
chete
are going to influence politics.
vobva vainfluenza
So when we
politics.
consider these together, we'll,
Patinoconsider zvinhu izvi
so
pamwe chete,
one of the things that we
chimwe
can
chinhu
establish through
chatinogona
Daniel chapter 8 is
kuestablisha
this is
kubudikisa
a
naDaniel chapter
religion.
8
They might
kuti
not call
iyi
themselves
ireligion. Vanogona
religion, they might
kuzozvidaidza
be
vachiti religion,
anti-religion,
vanoti
but
hatitendi
it is
zvechitendero,
a religious
asi
movement,
ireligious
and we've proven
movement.
that,
Takazviprove,
and we'll continue to do that.
ticharamba
But this
tichizvingozviita.
religion movement
Movement
is kind
yechitendero
of got its own
ine
trinity.
trinity yayo yega.
And so we were talking about
Tatiri kutaura nezve
long-termism.
long-termism.
So we'll go back to there.
Saka tichadzokera ku-long-termism.
And I'll just, if anybody wants to take a
Kana
picture
paine
of
anoda
that,
kutora
I'm just
picture
about to rub
izvi,
it out.
ndakuda kuzvidzima.
1, 2, 3. So what we started looking about at
chatakatanga
last
kutarisa
time was the
pokupedzera
philosophy.
yaiva philosophy.
So we can continue looking at the
Tinoramba
philosophy
tichitarisa
today,
philosophy
and then
nhasi
hopefully get on to the technology next time.
tozopinda mutechnology next time.
So the philosophy. And we
Philosophy
went back
takadzokera
into the 1970s.
kuma 1970.
We remind ourselves of the study
Tozvirangaridza
that we
kustudy
from 2021
yekubva kuna
about
2021
atheism.
yeatheism
It said a new study suggests
yaiti
that while
study
atheists
itsva
and theists share
inosugesta
moral
kuti
values
apo
related to
maatheist
protecting vulnerable
nematheist vachishare
individuals,
mamoral
atheists are less
values
likely to endorse
anoprotecta
values
vanhu.
that promote group
Maatheists
cohesion, so they don't really
havanyanyi
stick together,
kuda
and more inclined
kubatirana
to judge the
pamwe,
morality of actions based on their consequences.
vanojaja
So this
morality
is a
yeaction
philosophy
based
called
nemaconsequence ayo.
consequentialism,
Saka
and a
iphilosophy inonzi
particular thread of that
consequentialism.
we're looking at
Thread yatiri
utilitarianism.
kunyanyotarisa ndeyai yatakati
So
utilitarianism. Saka utilitarianism
is an ethical
ni
theory that
ethical
determines
theory
right from wrong by
inodetermina
focusing on
zvakanaka
outcomes.
nezvakaipa
It's a form of
vachinyanyofokasa
consequentialism.
nemaoutcomes. Iform
Utilitarianism
yeconsequentialism.
holds that the most
Utilitarianism
ethical choice
inoti
is the one that will
ethical
produce
choice
the greatest
yakanakisisa
good
ndeiya
for the greatest
inoprodusa
number. So
zvakanakisisa
basically, as
kuvanhu
human
vakanyanya
beings, we
wanda
all
vacho.
have utility.
Saka vanhu
We
vese vane
have
utility.
something that we
Tine
can
chinhu
give or
chatinogona
contribute.
kupa kana kucontribute.
And so what
Naizvozvo
utilitarians want to do is whatever
mautilitarianists
is
zvavanoda kuita
whatever
vanoda
will
kuita
create the
chinhu icho
greatest
chinonyanya
utility
kupa
for
utility yakawandisa
the world, the
kunyika
universe, the
kana
cosmos.
kuuniverse kana
That
kucosmos.
is what you work
Ndo
towards.
zvavanoshandira towards izvozvo.
So
Saka
utilitarianism has its roots in
utilitarianism
the
ine midzi yayo
18th century,
kuma 18th century.
but we went back
Asi
to
isu
the father of modern
takadzokera kunezi baba
utilitarianism, to Peter
remodern
Singer.
utilitarianism watakati ainzi Peter Singer.
Peter Singer was an Oxford
Peter Singer akanga ari philosopher
is.
weku
So
Oxford.
he's considered a living legend
Anonzi
among
achiri
philosophers.
legend ichiri
When
kurarama
you take on
pamaphilosophists.
philosophy, I guess it's like
Paunotora
any career.
philosophy
When you take on a
kana
career,
paunongotora dzidzo ipi
you
zvayo
want to do something in
unoda
your
kuita
career
chimwe
that
chinhu
will
mucareer
stand
iyoyo
out. If
kuti
you're a philosopher, you
uzikanwe.
want to come up with
Kana uri
at least one
muphilosophist
exceptional
unoda
thought that
kuvewo
people will
nepfungwa yawakabuda
grab
nayo
hold of.
inozosara
Peter
vanhu
Singer came up with
vachiirangarira.
three. So he's
Saka Singer
known
uyu
for three
anozikanirwa 3
consequential
maconsequential thoughts kana pfungwa nhatu dzeconsequentialism, maphilosophy matatu
beliefs
kana
that have
zvitendero
had a profound
zvakava
influence
neinfluence yakatekeshera
on academics,
kudzidzo
atheists or otherwise,
dzematheists
from when he
nevamwewo
wrote them.
kubva
So in
paakazvinyora.
1971, he
1971
wrote Famine,
akanyora
Affluence and Morality,
Famine,
and we talked about
Affluence
that.
nemorality. Takataura nezvayo vhiki rapera.
Famine, Affluence and Morality.
Famine, Affluence nemorality.
And the key thought
Pfungwa
was
huru yakanga
that
iri yekuti
people in
vanhu
rich countries are
mumakanties
morally
ane mari
obliged to
vane obligation
give away a big
yekupa
portion of their
portion
income
huru
to
yeincome
people
yavo
from poor
kuvanhu
countries. So
vekumakanties
distance means
asina
nothing.
mari.
If somebody was drowning,
Distance haina
his
basa.
pond
Kana munhu
parable is
achinyura
if somebody was drowning in front of you,
mupond
you wouldn't think
pamberi
twice
pako
about
unofana
getting his good suit
kutongomusevha
and your shoes
hautombofungi
dirty.
kaviri.
Then if people are starving in
Saka kana
Bengal,
vanhu
then you should be
kufa
able to
nenzara
give the
kuBengalore
equivalent of that at
unofana
least
kupa
to help
equivalent
people.
yezvinhu izvozvo.
Distance means nothing. So,
Distance
and
haina
all that
basa.
sounds really
Zvese
good.
zvinoita kunge hachinja
It's,
kanaka chaizvo.
this thinking actually spurred on
Pfungwa iyi
the international aid agencies. So there was international aid
yakatekeshera
with the United
kuma-international aid
Nations, but this
agents
spurred on
kwakusina aid
more
ku-United Nations
secular groups,
asi ma-secular
non-religious
groups
groups to take
ma-non-religious
part
groups
in
akabva
international
atanga
aid
kuti
as
take
well.
part mu-international aid
This is
zvakare
not without its critics.
zvine
There are a lot of
macritics
people
azvo kune vanhu
that
vazhinji
see international aid
vanoona
as doing more harm
international
than good.
aid ichiita
So
more harm than good.
this is not something that was accepted
hachisi chinhu
by everyone
chaikamuchirwa nemunhu wese.
for certain. So the other book in
rimwe bhuku muna
1975
1975
was called Animal Liberation.
rakanga riri paanimal liberation.
And does anybody remember the
Pana
thought
anorangarira
that
here
Peter Singer came
pfungwa
up
yakabuda napeter
that
Singer
he expanded on in his book Animal
yaakazoexpand
Liberation?
mubhuku rake reanimal liberation?
I'll say what I remember of it.
zvandinorangarira ndezvekuti
He said that
akati
there are people,
kune vanhu
but not everybody's actually
asi
equal.
havasi vanhu vese
Some people
vakaenzana.
have
Vamwe vanhu
maybe more skills,
vane
or some are
maskills,
disabled, or
vamwe vari
whatever. So there's different
disabled,
levels.
vanhu vari pama-different levels.
People, and then I think he went into like that all are able to suffer.
Vese
And
vanogona kusafa.
so therefore, you know, because animals are able to suffer,
Ma-animals vanogonawo kusafa.
you need to treat them equally. So
Ngatimatritei zvakaenzana nevanhu.
it's their ability to suffer is the reason
Ability yavo
why you
yekutambura
have to
ndo riri mhaka
treat them well.
tinofanira kumatrita
It's not because of
zvakanaka.
their like inherent value.
Haisi nyaya
Is what I
yekuti
kind of picked up
vane
from what he was
inherent
saying.
value. Ndo zvandakanhongawo kune
Yes, very good.
zvaitaurwa.
He called it
Akanyora achiti
speciesism.
speciesism.
Sure, I've spelled that right. Thank you, Catherine. Yeah, very,
Waita
very
zvako,
good.
Catherine.
So, in effect, what he's doing is
Zvaari kuita ari
confusing real
kuconfuse
differences with false
ma-differences chaiwo
differences.
chaiwo
I don't want
nema-differences
to get too
enhema.
much, go back into that
Handidi kunyanya
at all,
kudzokera
but
mazviri.
this is what spurred on the animal
Ndo
liberation
zvakanyorwa muanimal
movement,
liberation
and
movement.
also spurred on to him to think more
Zvakamuita
about what
futi
you were
afunge
just
zvimwe
saying,
zvezvawanga uchitaura,
Catherine,
Catherine,
is what actually makes people people
kuti chii
and
chinoita kuti
animals
vanhu
animal.
vave
What the
vanhu, chii chinoita
differentiates.
kuti
He's going to
ma-animals ave
continue to write
ma-animals.
on that, and in
Anoramba achinyora
1979, he's
nezvazvo.
going to write a book called
1979
Practical Ethics.
anobva anyora bhuku rinonzi Practical Ethics.
And in that, he's going to discuss
Mubhuku iri achadiscuss
personhood.
kuti personhood chii.
What makes a person?
Chii chinoita kuti munhu ave munhu.
And he will say that a
Iye anotaura
person,
achiti munhu,
that not all humans are persons.
havasi vanhu vese vari ma-person.
In order to be a
Kuti
person
uve munhu,
and to deserve moral
kuti
considerations, beings must
moral
be self-aware
considerations, munhu
and
unofanira
capable
kunge
of
uri
perceiving
self-aware,
themselves as individuals
uchizviziva
through
kuti uri munhu nguva
So,
dzese.
if you're,
Saka
let's consider abortion.
ngatifungei abortion.
So a fetus is
Saka
not self-aware,
fetus haisi
so it is
self-aware,
not a person.
saka haisi munhu.
So parents,
Saka
mothers should have the
parents,
choice to
manamai
abort
fana
the
kuva ine
fetus if that's
option
their
yekuabhota
choice.
fetus kana
because
iriyo
it's not a
choice yavo,
person.
nekuti haizi munhu.
But then he would go on to
Asi
say that an
anoendera mberi
infant
nekuti mwana
is also
mudiki
not a person.
haasi munhu,
They do not have
havana
self-awareness.
self-awareness ya,
They don't understand themselves as an
havanzwisisi ivo
individual in
semunhu
time.
panguva.
And so
Saka
if a parent
kana
could make the decision
mubereki
to
akaita decision
abort
yekuita abortion
a fetus before its
fetus
birth,
isati yazvarwa,
then they could make the
saka
decision if
anogona
the
kuita
child was
decision
born with
yekuti kana
terrible
mwana
disabilities,
akazvarwa
that child
nemadisability
could also
asingaiti
be
kuti
killed
agone
after birth
kuuraiwa abva
until they
kuzvarwa
reach the age
kusvikira
of
asvika paage
personhood.
yepersonhood.
So he got himself into a whole lot of trouble with that one.
Haakazvipinza mudambudziko
There were
nepfungwa
massive
iyoyi.
demonstrations
Vanhu
in 1989,
vakademonstrata
actually, and I remember those in Germany.
1989 kuGermany ndo
So
zvirangariro.
he would also argue that somebody with
Akataurawo
advanced
zvakare
dementia is
kuti
not a
munhu ane
person too.
dementia haazi munhu.
So he defined what was person,
Akataura kuti
what made a person.
chii
Now he didn't say,
chinogadzira
he
munhu,
wasn't
chii
saying that
chisiri
all,
munhu.
you know, that it's okay to kill a child.
isataura kuti zvakanaka kuuraya
As a
mwana
utilitarian, you would
nekuti
say don't kill
semuutilitarian
that child
unoti
because it would upset the
ngatisaurayai
parents.
mwana nekuti unotsamwisa
That would do
maparents
harm to the
zvinoita
parents.
hamu
So it's the
kuvabereki
parents' choice
saka
of whether
isarudzo
they want to
yemaparents
keep
kuti vanoda
the
here
born
kuchengeta
child,
mwana uyu akazvarwa
not for any
kwete
moral reason for the child
moral
itself.
reason yemwana
So
pachezvake
3
Saka,
major
tine zvitatu
thoughts
pfungwa
that are going to
dzitatu
have a large
dzihombe
impact
dzinova neimpact huru
going forward.
chienderera mberi
You cannot underestimate
haugoni
the work of Peter
kuunderestimate
Singer
basa rapeter
amongst
singer pakati
intellectual elites,
pema-intellectual
especially
elites
at Oxford, but
nyanye-nyanye
across the world.
kuoxford asi pasi tenderere
So we're going to come
saka
down in time.
tichadzoka kunguva
Actually, I'll just quote Peter Singer.
ndichangokota
Killing a
peter singer
defective infant
kuuraya
is
mwana
not
ari
morally
defective
equivalent to
hakuzi
killing a
morally
person.
equivalent kukuuraya
Sometimes it
munhu
is not
dzimwe
wrong at
nguva
all.
hazvina kutoshata zvachose
That's a quote from
iquotation
Practical
yebhuku
Ethics.
rake Rain's
You can
Practical
imagine
Ethics unogona
the people with
kuimachina vanhu
disabilities
vane
were very upset
madisabilities
and
vakatsamwa
still are
chaizvo
with
vakaramba
Peter
vakatsamwa
Singer's
tsamwira Peter
conclusions.
Singer nemaconclusion ake
So all of this tied
zvese
together,
izvi
especially this book, Famine,
zvabatanidzwa
Affluence and Morality,
kunyanyanyanya bhuku rake
is going to have a
rekutanga iri
profound effect
rakaita
on
effect iri profound
students of philosophy going forward.
kumadzidzi vefilosofi
And we're
zvichiendera
going to look at
mberi
a few of those.
chatarisa vamwe
He
vashoma
has
vacho
his work
ane basa
is
rake
going to create a lot of
rakagadzira
think tanks,
vanofunga
groups
vakanyanya
within
mapoka evanofunga
academia,
vaya
and
nevanoita
eventually this is
zvedzidzo
going to
izvi zvinozopedzisirawo
develop into the
zvadevelopwa
effective altruism
kuita
movement, or
movement
EA.
iya yeeffective
So I'll just
altruism
write it up here.
inonzi ei ndichangoinyora
Actually, I'll
pamusoro
write
apa
it up here. Effective altruism
movement.
And we want to look at a few
Toda kutarisa
individuals,
vamwe vanhu vashoma shoma
philosophers
mafilosofa
that were the most influenced
vakanga
by
vakainfluenswa
Peter
zvakanyanya
Singer
napeter
and
Singer
have created their own influence.
vakagadzirawo influence
So the
dzavowo
first one
vega
we're going to look
wokutanga
at,
watichatarisa
talked about them before,
takambotaura
is we're
nezvake
going to come down to
tichauya
2009.
kuna 2009
And there are two individuals.
pane vanhu
We
vaviri
mentioned them a few weeks back.
takambovataura
William
mavhiki
McCaskill
akapfuura
and
William McCaskill
and I want to say Benjamin Ord, but
neumwe wechipiri
Toby Ord, sorry,
Toby Ord.
So Toby
Ord,
William McCaskill,
naWilliam McCaskill
young philosophers at
vafilosofa
Oxford.
vechidiki vanga vari kuoxford panguva iyi
And they are going to take Peter Singer's work
vanozotora basa rapeter Singer
and create a
vogadzira charity
called
yainzi
Giving What We Can.
kupa izvo tinokwanisa
And
giving what we can
effectively,
zvavanoita
what they realized was
zvavanoona ndezvekuti
that altruism is nothing new.
altruism hachizi chinhu chicho
Altruism is selflessness.
altruism kuve usina chindimi
giving.
kupa
Disinterested and selfless concern for the well-being of others.
kupa
So that's nothing
usingazvitarisi
new.
uchiita kuti
What
vamwe
is
vanhu
new is being
upenyu
effective
hwavo
about
huve
it.
nani
Taking
chitsva
utilitarian
effectiveness yacho kutora
beliefs,
mabeliefs
taking that to
ema-utilitarian
altruism to bring
kutora
the
izvowo
most
zvisanganisa
good
nealtruism kuti
out of
muburitse
charitable giving.
zvakanakisisa
So
pakupa
if we're
kwecharity
going
saka
to take
kana
Peter Singer's
tichizotora
parable
parable
about the
rapeter
pond,
Singer
then and
parable
we
rake
want to
repond
help people
kuti toda kubetsera
overseas,
vanhu vari kumhiri kwemakungwa
because all their help would be
Nekuti
largely in third world countries, then
betsero
we have to
yavo
look
iri
at the
kuma-third world
most
countries saka
effective
tofanira
way
kutarisa
to do that.
nzira iri most effective
So they coined the
yekuzviita
term effective
saka vanobva
altruism.
vataura
And
vara
they
rekuti
started
effective
a
altruism vakabva vatanga
I don't know if you can call it a charity. We'll call it a charity, I guess. It's called Giving
inonzi giving
What You Can.
what you can
Now, how are they going to
Kwavanozviita sei?
encourage people
Vanokurudzira vanhu
to
sei
take on Peter
kuti
Singer's
vatore
philosophy?
philosophy yaPeter Singer?
How are they going to encourage people to
Vanoto-
give what they can?
Vanoencouragea sei
Any
kuti vanhu
ideas
vape
what? Oh,
zvavanokwanisa?
sorry, I've missed some.
Sorry, pane vandisina kuona.
Molly, you had your hand up?
Molly, wanga wakasimudza ruoko.
Yeah, no, I was just going to ask a question because it sounds like he based his thesis on the Darwinism. Like,
Oh,
on-
yes.
Ndine mubvunzo wekuti zvida kufanana neDarwinism.
Yeah, it's just a natural extension
Ingori
of
extension iri
Darwinism.
natural
We're all
yeDarwinism.
animals.
Kuti
So
tese
if we're all
tiri
animals,
mhuka.
we should
Kana tese tiri
care for
mhuka,
each other.
ngatiichengetedzanei.
And hence,
Naizvozvo,
speciesism. And we have to actually
speciesism.
determine then between the animals.
Tofanira kuti temaina pakati pema-animals
And
aya.
that's where he came up with personhood. So there's
Tofa
threads that
vazoita
run through his
personhood.
thinking. Doesn't pay to dwell on it too much, it's just being aware of it. But there are others that have dwelt on it a lot.
Kune vamwe
And it's going to
vakanyatsokudzika
develop,
pane
especially with
zvinobva zvazodevelopa.
online groups.
Nema-online
Once
groups.
you get
Once one
let me say chat groups
waenda
or
pama-chat groups
what's the other one? Blogs.
kana
There's
mablogs
this is going to really grow.
zvichakura
So giving
chaizvo.
what you can,
Saka kupa
they're trying to
zvaunokwanisa
encourage
vaizama kuencouragea
students,
mastudents,
people from
vanhu
these
vaibva
universities
kumayunivhesiti vaya
to
kuti
be more
vave more
effective,
effective,
to first of all think
vatange
about
vafunga
altruism and to be
nezvealtruism
more effective about
vagovawo
it.
more
So
effective
any guesses
nezvazvo.
about what their first
Hapana
thing
unogona
is going
kugesa
to
here
be
kuti
to get people to
chekutanga
give?
chavanoita kuti vaite kuti vanhu
Bad way
vape
to put the
chii.
question. Did anybody do any research on them on Toby Ord or William
Pana
McCaskill?
akamboita research pana Toby Ord
What's their
kana
idea? Their
William
first idea.
McCaskill.
We're going to
Idea yavo
encourage people to
yekutanga
give.
yekuti tiencourage vanhu kuti vape.
Lynn,
Lini.
I haven't done any research on that, so I really don't know. So I'm just kind of taking a bit of a stab in the dark. But it seems to me that they're going to look at a marketing campaign and they'd look at something like, I mean, I would imagine something like getting celebrities involved or something that's going to be popular. So that would be what I would imagine. But I'm kind of just, as I say, grasping at straws a little.
no, thank you. Eventually, yes, celebrities,
Eventually
people with
vanozounzwawo
money,
ma-celebrities
etc., are
nevanhu
going to get
vane mari.
involved. But it's it's a sort of a ground movement amongst the
Zvinotanga iri
universities
ground
at first,
movement
amongst the
kumayunivhesiti
intellectual elites.
neavo
And
vakakwirira
a clue is it's a counterfeit.
veruzivo. Inenge iri
Catherine,
counterfeit.
how are they going to counterfeit?
Catherine, vachaita
God's
counterfeit
going-
sei?
So I haven't researched it, but I was going to guess
Handina
that this is
kuresearch.
like
Asi
you can
ndanchiti
leave a legacy, and
vanoti
you're,
unogona kuita legacy.
you can leave a legacy, and in that way you can like live forever.
Okay, good swing of the bat, yeah. How much legacy, Catherine?
Legacy
Like-
yakawanda sei?
Each week,
Kuti
what would you give?
Week,
What are they
rimwe
telling people to
nerimwe.
give?
vanenge
Oh,
vachiudza vanhu
1/10,
kuti
of
vape
course.
chii.
Yeah,
1/10.
yeah. They want you to give 10% of your income.
Vanoda kuti upe 10%
These atheists.
yeincome yako
Who would ever have thought?
maatheista.
So
Ndiani akanga
this is where it
achifungawo.
starts.
Ndo
Pledge
pazvinotangira.
10% of your
Pledge
income. They thought
10%
that was a
yeincome
pretty good
yako. Vaifunga
way to
kuti
start.
nzira yakanaka yekutanga.
Actually, I might be able to bring that up. So here's the giving what you can from Wikipedia page.
Wikipedia page ine yekuti unopa
The shared
zvaunokwanisa.
ground of all giving it's giving what we can, not you can.
Hanzi kupa
Members is that
zvatinokwanisa.
they have committed to providing at least 10% of their income
Vakati
by
vanopa
signing the
10%
pledge.
yeincome yavo
Therefore, members
nekusaina
often
pledge.
refer to themselves as pledges.
Members
sign pledges,
vanozviti
do we?
tiri
What do we
ma-pledges. Isusu hatisaini ma-pledge, isusu tine chii.
What is the pledge counterfeiting?
Pledge iyi iri kucounterfeita chii?
Vows.
The vows, yes.
Ma-vows.
The pledge is a voluntary and non-legal commitment to donate 10% of one's income.
Pledge ndeyekuti
Then
munhu
you can further
anovolunteer
pledge,
kupa
though.
10% income
Founder
yake.
Toby Ord further pledged to donate anything he earned over £20,000 a year, based on his conviction that he could live
Wozoenderera
comfortably and
mberi
happily
woti
on his own
unopledgewo
income.
zvinhu
So that's
zvaunopawo.
another thing they call the further pledge. So you work out
Hanzi
what you can
further
live on,
pledge kuti
and then
unogona
whatever is
kuzopa
above that,
chii,
you give.
unogona kurarama nechii, then zvese zvine
So
zvasara unopa.
some give more than the 10, but the minimum
Vamwe
is the 10.
vanozopawo yakawanda kupfuura
So giving
10%,
what
asi
you
minimum
can.
ndiyo 10.
When we come down to 2015,
Paunozosvika kuna
I'll just
2015,
write it down here.
chainyora apa.
They're going to start up. This is connected. It's called 80,000 hours.
Vanobva vanotanga inonzi
80,000
80,000 hours.
That is the amount of time that you're probably going to spend in your
Ndo
career.
nguva yaunogona
So this was
kuzospenda mucareer
a
yako.
counselling, I don't know if counselling is the
Saka-
right word, but this arm of the EA movement
Arm iyi
was
ye-Effective
to
Altruism
help
movement yaiva yekubatsira
in
vanhu
their career
vaidzidza
choice. If
macareer
you want to
choices
be an
avo.
effective
Kuti kana uda
altruist,
kuva effective
then
altruist, uchabatsirwa mucareer
you
choice
won't be
yako.
as effective going to work
Hauzoiti
for a
effective
charity
kana
as you
uchinoshandira
would
charity.
going to work at Wall
Sezvaunoita
Street
kana
or
uchinoshandira
petrochemical
naWall
company
Street
or
kana
earning big
mapetrochemical
money.
company
So if you can
kana
get into a job that you
kuya
can earn big
kunowanikwa mari
money, you will
dzakawanda.
be able
Saka kana
to
ukashandira
be more
kunowanikwa mari
effective
dzakawanda,
in your
unovawo
altruism.
effective zvakanyanya mualtruism yako.
So they would guide people
Saka
in their
vaigaidha
career
vanhu
choices
mumacareer
where they
choices
could be
avo
more
kuti
effective.
unove effective zvakanyanya
So
sei.
there's two things.
Saka pane zvinhu
So
zviviri.
they're telling
Vari
people
kuudza vanhu
minimum of asking people
kuti
to sign the
minimum
pledge,
ndeyekuti
it's
sign a
voluntary,
pledge 10%.
and people are getting on
Vanhu
board
vari
because
kusaina
you want to do good,
nekuti
sounds
vanodawo
good, it's not
kuitawo
asking that
zvakanaka.
much, 10% is not asking a lot of
10%
people,
haina
and that's what they
kunyanya kuwanda.
recognise. But when you get people to give this
Paunozoita
two
kuti
things
vanhu vape
you
zvinhu
want them to
zviviri,
not do,
pane zvinhu
not
zviviri zvaunoda kuti
consider
vasaita,
when you give.
kuti usakonsida kuti unopa rini.
So what would be the two
Saka
reasons that
sei
we would
mareasons
give?
maviri, ndeapi
Why do we
mareasons
give?
maviri atinopa zvinhu. Sei tichipa,
Oh, Graham?
Graham?
I was answering something previous. I wasn't trying to answer this one.
Ndasingadi kupindura iyi
Okay.
yamabvunza.
What were you going to say, Graham?
Wanga uchazoti chii, Graham?
Before when Catherine was answering, I was
Papachipindwa
going to say
naCatherine, ndandichazoti hangu.
time. So
Yeah,
I
time.
thought that it was the
Ndandichifunga
movement
kuti
first started on giving time and then
movement yakatanga
and then
yacho
money, but
yakatanga nekupa
I
nguva
was incorrect.
ndobva pazoya mari.
No, that's because the
Ndandisiri
time's going
correct.
to come here.
Okay,
But it's
time
where you're going to put
inozoya
your time.
kumberi.
Your time might be more effective
Time yako inogona kunge iri
in
more
a career
effective
that's going to make more
mucareer
money.
ine mari yakawanda.
So thank you, Graham.
Asi waita basa, Graham.
Okay, so if you're going to give,
Kana
there are
uchizopa,
two reasons why we give.
pane
And
mareasons
they want you
maviri
to
tichipa.
not give because of those two reasons.
Ndoda kuti
Because those
usapa
two reasons are
nekuda
not
kwemareasons
effective.
aya nekuti
So
mareasons
why
aya
would
haasi
why do we
effective.
give?
Sei tichipa?
Any thoughts of why?
Pane
What
pfungwa here
makes you
dzekuti
give?
chii chinoita kuti tipe?
When there's a need,
Tinopa kana
somebody need
paine
help.
need, kana paine
What
anonida
makes,
rubatsiro.
yes, so there's a need. That need
Saka pane
has
need iyi.
affected your,
Need iyi
how has
yaafecta.
that need prompted you to give?
Need iyi yakuita sei kuti upe?
Especially if I'm able.
Kana ndichikwanisa,
Out of love.
ndine rudo,
Out of love,
ndine
out of your
rudo,
emotions.
ndine my emotions.
Emotion, yeah.
Yes.
People give
Vanhu
as an
vanopa
emotional
se
response.
emotional response.
Atheists say no,
Maitheists
that's
vanoti
bad, that's not
hazvisiri izvo
effective.
zvakashata,
You
hazvisi
see a need,
effective.
Molly, and you go, oh,
Unoona munhu
that
ari in
makes me
need woti
feel like I should do something.
zvaita kuti ndinzwe
That's
kuti
not
ndofanira kuita
effective
something.
to
Izvo
an
hazvisi effective
effective altruist.
kune effective
So we
altruist.
give because
Saka tinopa
it tugs on
nekuda
our
kwokuti
emotions.
zvinobata
Love,
maemotions edu,
sympathy,
tobatwa nerudo,
empathy.
neempathy nesympathy.
The other reason we give,
Imwe yemhaka tinopa,
think about this. Why do we give?
tikafunga nyaya ye10%, sei tichipa?
What's this tied to for us? Sorry, Molly?
It's a moral obligation.
Pane moral obligation.
That morality has come from where?
Morality yabva pai.
The Bible.
Yabva kuBhayibheri.
And the Bible is?
Bhayibheri chi?
What do atheists not believe in?
Maatheist avatendi munani.
God said for us to give it to him.
Mwari akati tipe tidzosere kwaari.
Yes.
Hongu.
Yes. You're all right.
Mese muri right.
I'm thinking of the word religion. So you're
Nachifunga
all right. We give because of our religion, or we give because of emotions. People across the world, either they give because it's emotionally pulled on them, or because of religion. And atheists say that is bad giving, that is ineffective giving. We want you to give, but not because of religion and not because of your emotions. So how are they, what are they going to use in its place? What are they going to replace religion and emotions with? And they're going to replace it with mathematics. So to be effective, they're going to use a lot of mathematical tools to work out what is the most effective giving. And we've already done a little bit of grammar tonight, so we're not going to do any maths because it'll make your head hurt. But there are all these probability calculus. And what's the other one? They're going to use reason and evidence. And I'm just trying to... Expected value calculus. So there are probability calculuses, expected value calculus. Expected value calculus actually is something that is used all the time. It's used by insurance companies. It's used by the medical industry, institutions. So you work out the probability, the possibility of something happening like a fire or a flood. And how often it's happened in the past, you put all those numbers into your formula and you come up with an expected value calculus. And there's all these probability formulas, and they use mathematics to work out how to be the most effective in the giving. So they look at data, they look at... yes, they use reason. It has to do. It's not. Mathematics has the authority. So I just so EA.
Saka effective altruism.
Really came into its own in 2012.
Yakanyatsokuuya
And I'll read a
2012.
little from
Chaverenga
William
zvishoma
McCaskill's
kubva
book.
pane bhuku raWilliam McCaskill.
He says,
Anoti
this is a story he tells. In
inyaya anotaura kuti muna
2009,
2009
while germinating the concept
apo
of effective
taiburuka
altruism,
concept
he
yeeffective
visited a
altruism
hospital in Ethiopia
akashanyira
that
hospital
treats
muEthiopia
obstetric fistulas, a condition
yaitriita
resulting
condition
from childbirth in young
yaiwanikwa kubva
and
pakuzvarwa
a condition
kwemwana
resulting from childbirth in
yaitanga
young and malnourished women
kune
that causes
madzimai vaiva
permanent
vechidiki vanga vasina
incontinence
kudya
of urine
kwakakwana
and or feces.
inopa
According to the
incontinence
Fistula
yeweti
Foundation, which
netsvina
funds the hospital, a majority of
zvichitarisa
women who develop
ava
fistulas
vanovafanda
are
hospital
abandoned by their husbands and ostracized by their communities
vazhinji
because of
vaiva
their foul smell.
neincontinence vaidzingirwa kure
At the
nekuda kwekunuhwa
hospital,
kwavaiita.
McCaskill met some of the women
McCaskill
who suffered
akasangana
from the
nevamwe madzimai
condition.
vaisafa
But
necondition
several
iyoyo
years
asi
later, he
makore
concluded that although the organization was
akakonkluda
repairing
kuti kunyange
fistulas at low cost
organization iyi yairi
and
repair
saving these young
nelow
women
cost
from terrible
vachisefa
fates,
madzimai ava kubva kune mafaiths akasiyana. Vamwe vaishanda nemaissues anga aine mabigger impact ende vaifanira kuwanawo madonations ake. Mamethods ekucalculata akaita kuti adetermine impact yakadescribwa mubhuku rake, yaakataura mafomula ese ekuti usadoneta kune iri dambudziko asi udonete kune zvimwe zvese.
Fistula Foundation were very upset because
Foundation
actually a lot of his calculation,
yakarwadziwa.
the information he was using
Information
was
yaaishandisa
erroneous.
yakanga ine
And
era.
because of his decision in his
Nekuda
book, it
kwedecision
took a
rake
lot
mubhuku iri zvakatora
donations away
madonations
from their charity.
akawanda kubva kucharity yaifanira kupiwa iyi.
According to the Fistula Foundation, which funds the
Fistula
hospital, a
Foundation
majority of
inofanda
women who
hospital
develop
iyi.
fistulas are
Vanhu
abandoned by
vakawanda
their
vanodevelopa
husbands. Oh, I
fistulas
read
iyi
that.
vanorambwa
At the hospital,
nevarume. Kuhospital iyi
oh,
ndazviverenga.
McCaskill explains
McCaskill
that by
anoexplaina
donating to
kuti
the Fistula
ndikadoneta
Foundation instead of a
kuFistula
different
Foundation
organisation,
pachinamba
he thought he
pembe
would be
organisation
privileging the needs of
ndaizopa
some people
maprivileges
over
evamwe
others
kune vamwe
merely
vanhu
because I happen to know them.
pfuura vamwe vanhu nekuti ndinongovaziva.
So he didn't want to use his
Aisada
emotions just
kushandisa
because I've
maemotions
known them,
ake
I've
nekuti
met them, and I've
aivaziva,
seen it. I must not
tinovaziva.
let that affect my
Hazvirevi kuti
giving.
ndofanira
I'll go
kungovapa.
home and do my
Tichadzokera kumba
mathematical
ndoita
equations.
mathematical equation yangu ndoona kuti
And that it
ndokwana.
was arbitrary that I'd seen this problem close up rather than any of the other problems
Akati
in the
ndakaonawo
world.
dambudziko iri pedyo.
So effective altruists admire the kind of cool rationality that considers personal attachments as
Saka
arbitrary.
ma-effective
So
altruists
no
havadi
personal
ma-personal
attachments. They actually
attachments
admire
kuzvinhu.
that resolve of people
Vanoti
not to get personally attached or drawn into
hatisaitai
caregiving.
personally attached kune vanhu kuti
So the importance of
tizovapa.
VA is to maximize
Saka
how
vanoti
much good you can do.
unomaximiza sei kuti unogona
And
kuita
as I
zvakawanda
said
sei.
earlier,
Sezvandataura kare.
when we're talking about, especially about
Patinotaura
international aid,
ne-international aid iyi
it's just not clear cut.
hazvisi clear cut.
So you can be thinking about how much you
Saka
can,
unogona kungochifunga
how much
kuti
you can get for your
unogona
dollar,
kupa
but
zvakawanda
it's
sei,
not
uwana
really
zvakawanda sei kumari
considering
yako
the
yawo.
individual
Asi hausi
needs.
kunyatsoconsider
And
ma-individual
we'll look
needs.
at that
Tichatarisa
more.
izvi.
There'll be another example
Panenge
of
paine
that.
mama-examples kune zvinhu izvozvi.
So I've just introduced Toby Ord, William
Ndangointroducer
McCaskill.
Toby Ord,
They're
William
the
McCaskill.
founders
Ndo
of this
vaiva
EA movement.
mafounders e-effective altruism movement.
In
Muna
2021,
2021
Toby Ord
wrote
The
akanyora
Precipice.
bhuku rainzi The Precipice.
And in The
Mubhuku
Precipice,
iri rainzi
it's
Precipice.
a precipice is
Precipice
you're standing on a cliff,
unenge wakamira
you're about to
paclif
go over and die.
wakuda
It's about
kudonhera kuti
existential
ufe.
threats.
Saka ainyora
about,
nezvema-existential threats.
The world is on the
Kuti
precipice
nyika iri
of extinction. And
paprecipice
we
yekuda
talked
kuve
about that in
extinct.
an earlier study. All
Takambozvitaura
the
mumatati
things
zedu kare.
that
Zvese izvi
are troubling the world at the
zvazviri
moment
kutambudza
that
nyika
could actually
panguva ino
bring us to
zvaigona
extinction.
kutiunza
So
kuextinction.
he is
Saka
now going to combine
anobva
this idea of
azobatanidza
existential
pfungwa
threats
iyi
with
yema-existential
effective
threats
altruism.
nepfungwa
And where did they get those
ye-effective
ideas
altruism.
from? Let me introduce you to
Toona kuti
another
maideas
philosopher,
ayaanomaona kuti
another philosopher that was
patinointrodusa mumwe
heavily
philosophy
influenced by Peter Singer's work.
akainfluenswa zvakanyanya
And his
napeter
name
singer
is
nebasa rake. Zita
Nick
rake
Bostrom.
rainzi Nick Bostrom.
I'll put him back here.
Ndichamunyora
We can
apa.
mark him. He's
Tinogona
2001,
kumunyora
2000. He's written over
2001
200 books.
akanyora mabhuku
So
anopfuura
I'll mark this one
200.
as 2005.
Saka uyu ndichamumaka pa 2005. Nick Bostrom.
And I might just pull up the Wikipedia on him.
Ndichangovhura Wikipedia pamusoro
Might be
pake.
the easiest thing.
Ndo zviri
Just have
easy.
Little look at Nick.
Tongotarisa kuna Nick.
So Oxford philosopher.
Saka iphilosopher
actually
wekuOxford.
Sweden.
Ndewe
But
kuSweden.
he is
Asi
he is the author of over
ndiye
200
akanonyora
publications.
mabhuku kana
Has written 2
mapublications
books and
anopfuura
co-edited
200.
2 others.
Akanyora
The book that
mabhuku
we will
2.
be considering
Bhuku ratinenge
is
tichitarisa rinonzi Superintelligence.
Superintelligence.
Rinonzi Superintelligence.
Oh, no, sorry. Superintelligence, Paths, Dangers, Strategies. And he wrote that in 2014.
Iri bhuku raakanyora muna
It was a New York
2014
Times bestseller.
rakanga riri New York Times bestseller.
So
Bostrom
Superintelligence.
yakanyora bhuku
So he
superintelligence.
is an EA.
More effective altruist.
But his work
Asi basa rake
is mostly on existential risk.
rinonyanya kurerekera kuma-existential
Aspects of
risk.
Bostrom's research
Ma-aspects
concern the
research
future
ya
of humanity
Bostrom
and long-term outcomes.
vanotarisa future yevanhu
He
nema-long
discusses
term outcomes.
existential risk,
Vanotaura
which he
ma-existential
defines as
risk
one in which an adverse outcome would either annihilate Earth-originating intelligent life
zvichadzima
or permanently and
kuvepo
drastically
kwe-earth
curtail
nezvimwe
its
zvakadaro.
potential. So he's the founder of Future of Humanity Institute,
Ndiye
which we've
muwani
looked at before too.
Future
2005
of
Future
Humanity
of Humanity
Altruism,
Institute.
2005
So
Future for
we look
Humanity
at this
Institute.
book that he wrote in
Bhuku raakanyora muna
2014.
2014 iri.
In 2014,
Mugore iroro
the book
2014
Superintelligence,
bhuku
Paths,
iri
Dangers, Strategies, Bostrom reasoned that the creation of a
Bostrom
superintelligence
akati kugadzirwa
represents a possible means
kwesuperintelligence
to the extinction of mankind.
kunorepresenta possible
Bostrom argues that a
threat
computer with near-human
yekuextincta
level
kwevanhu.
general intellectual
Vanoramba
ability
vachiendera
could
mberi
initiate an
mukuverenga.
intelligence explosion on a digital timescale with the resultant rapid creation of something so powerful that it might deliberately or accidentally destroy humanity. Bostrom contends the power of a superintelligence would be so great that a task given to it by humans might be taken to open-ended extremes. And then he'll give some examples. For example, a goal of calculating pi
Anozopa
might
ma-examples
collaterally
mubhuku
cause
rake.
nanotechnology manufactured facilities to sprout over the entire Earth's surface and cover it within days. He comes up with all these
Anouya
stories that could
nenyaya
happen.
idzi dzekuti
He
zvinogona
believes an
kudai zvinogona
existential
kudai.
risk to humanity from
Zvema-existential risk
superintelligence
evanhu
would be
tikanovaverenga
immediate once
pawikipedia
brought into being, thus creating an exceeding
kuti
difficult
zvinobva
problem of finding
zvagadzira
out how to
dambudziko
control
riri
such an
extreme
entity
riri
before it
difficult
actually
kuti
exists.
tocontrola sei
Okay,
entity
so
isati yatovapo.
he has
Saka ane
there's a couple of interesting things about
zvinhu
Bostrom.
zvakawanda zviri
He is
interesting
also a
zvakare.
he is also a transhumanist.
Munhu anonzi
So
transhumanist.
transhumanists
Ma-transhumanists
believe that
vanotenda kuti
we're transitioning
tiri kutransition
because of evolution.
tiri kuchinja
Okay,
nemhaka
so we're
yeevolution
human,
nekuti
but
tiri vanhu
we're in a
asi
transitioning
tiri
phase
muphase apo
where we
tiri
will become
kuchinja
post-human,
patinozova
where we
post-human
would eventually become,
tinozove
because of
nekuda
technology, we
kwetechnology
could become
tinogona kuzove
immortal.
vanhu
We would
vasingafi nekuda
conquer death. We
kwetechnology
would conquer all
tinokurira
the health
rufu
problems, all the
nemahealth problem
sicknesses.
ese
We would
zvirwere
have super
zvese
intelligent
tinenge taane
brains,
super intelligent
etc. So we're in a
brain. Saka tiri
stage at the moment
kuchinja
between being
panguva
human and being
yekuchinja sevanhu
post-human.
kuti kubva
So,
kumunhu
and
kuve
there's a lot of
post-human
things
kune zvinhu
that are
zvakawanda
connected with that. The
zvakabatana
idea
naizvozvo
of
neidea
uploading your brain to
yekuti
computers
brain dzedu
and
dziuploadwe
living in
kumakombiyuta
computer-generated
kurarama
worlds,
munyika iri computer
computer-simulated
generated
worlds, perhaps on
iri
other
simulated
planets. So
neizvozvo
it
kune dzimwe
sounds
nyika
very
saka zvinoita
science
kunge
fiction, and it
ndezve
is,
science fiction
but there are a
haungoi
lot of
science
people
fiction asi kune vanhu vakawanda
and a lot of the EAs
nevanhu
that have
vakawanda
bought into this
veeffective altruism
philosophy as
vakatotendawo
well.
filosofi
So
iyi.
Nick Bostrom is going
Nick
to bring
Bostrom
his
achaunzawo
calculations
ake
to the EA movement,
kumovement iyi
and
yeeffective
now they are
altruism
going to
vobva
consider
vatanga
that
kuconsider
the main
kuti
altruistic need for
huru
humanity is to
kuvanhu
stop
ndeyekumira
any existential threats.
kumisa ma-existential
The
threats.
worst thing that could
Chinhu
happen
chiri worst
to
chinogona
humans is that
kuitika
we die
kuvanhu
out,
ndechekuti
because it will
tinogona
affect,
kufa
as
tese
we spoke about earlier,
nekuti
trillions of
zvinoafekta
people that are
matirilioni
going
evanhu
to
vachazoti
live in the future.
vachazorarama kumberi.
they love their parables. So in this book, Nick Bostrom tells the parable of the sparrows. The sparrows are building nests, they're having trouble, and they think, wouldn't it be good if we could get an owl to help us? Owls are so wise, they could protect us. And there's this one-eyed sparrow saying, I don't think it's a good idea. I think we should train the owl before we get the owl to work for us. And the sparrows don't listen. They go, no, we'll get the owl and then we can worry about that later. So you know how the story ends for the sparrows. So he takes that parable and applies it to artificial intelligence. The idea that computers will get so smart that they can actually create other computers and they will have no need for humans other than to use their brains if there's any potential use for a person's brains. Otherwise there won't be any use for humans. So these are the things, as we said earlier, that keep them up late at night. In 2009, Nick Bostrom wrote a paper that argued that a non-existential disaster causing the breakdown of global civilization is, from the perspective of humanity as a whole, a potentially recoverable setback. A giant massacre for man, but a small misstep for mankind. So little things that happen now, like World War II or Ukraine, they're just blips on the radar. He said, we find that the expected value of reducing existential risk by a mere 1 billionth of 1 percentage point, there's a lot of maths in this. So we could reduce existential risk by 1 billionth of 1 billionth of 1 percentage point. It's worth 100 billion times as much as saving a billion lives today.
Kusave amabhillion lives nazo. I hope
But if we could reduce existential risk by 0.000000001 today, that's a billion more times effective than saving a billion lives today. So human beings get quantified. That's basic utilitarianism. Human beings are just boxes of utility. And it might be that we can suffer a billion deaths today, as long as there are, that we're working towards saving a trillion lives in a few years. And maths doesn't lie. So the EA movement is
Effective
essential to
Altruism
understand
movement
how long-termism developed.
yakakunzwisisa kuti long-termism
William
yakadevhelopa
McCaskill's going to
sei.
write a book
Ile McCaskill
called,
anonyora bhuku
first of all, a paper called
atanga anyora
Strong
bepa
Long-Termism.
rinonzi Strong Long-Termism.
And then he will write a book that came out this year,
rakabuda gore rino
2022,
2022.
and it's called What We Owe the Future.
Rinonzi What We Owe the Future.
This was heavily marketed.
Kumaketwa.
It was every major news outlet
News outlet
did a review of it
akaita
or
review yaro
interviewed him, whether it's the Washington Post, New York Times, all of them. What we owe the
Washington
future,
Post, New York Times vese vakamuinterview kuti what do we owe the future.
which was essentially selling
Kwaiva
a mild
kutengesa
version of
mild version
long-termism that would be suitable
ye-long-termism
for the public.
yenga iri
You have to
suitable
read their
public.
papers to
Unofana kuverenga
understand
mapapers
how far
avo
they take strong
kunzwisisa kuti
long-termism.
vanotora
Strong
strong
long-termism
long-termism
is that
zvakadii. Strong long-termism kuti
the majority of our work,
ruzhinji
our
rwebasa
priority
redu
should be
nepriority yedu
to
zvinofanira
stop
kunge
existential risks.
zviri zvokumisa
Don't worry about
ma-existential risk.
world hunger.
Vanoita
we
wari
can do
neworld
that, but it's
hunger
not
togona
really
kuzviita asi
the
hazvisiri
major
izvo major
concern.
concern.
I'll just read a little bit
Changoerenga
of
zvishoma
McCaskill. He
pane
said,
zvinhu zvaMcCaskill anoti
the idea is then that for the purposes of evaluating actions, we can in the first instant often simply ignore all the effects contained in the first 100 or even 1,000 years, focusing primarily on the further future effects. He goes on to say, and missing it, that anything that happens today really is a rounding error. So if you think of, if you've got a decimal number like 7.1654327, what we do is we round off to 6 digits. So we would. So what is happening today is totally inconsequential. We just round that off. It's a rounding error. World War II rounding error. If we think of the history of mankind as a book, we're on the first page. So all our efforts and priorities should go into protecting the long-term future. So this is essentially the philosophy behind EA and effective altruism and long-termism. What we next need to look at is how it has affected the tech industry. This is what happens when you take God out of the equation. People want to do what is morally good, and they will work out ways to do it that leaves God and emotions, because emotions are not considered intelligent, out of the equation. Then you have to replace that with something. And what they have replaced it is with mathematics, basically. Logic, reason, a lot of mathematical equations to come up with what is the most effective way. So we'll stop here for time, but in 2012, William McCaskill met a young man called Sam Bankman-Fried and counselled him to look for a job that he could make the most amount of money so that he could be an effective altruist. And he went into cryptocurrency. And if you've been living under a rock, you would have missed what's been happening this last 3-4 weeks with the crash of FTX, that cryptocurrency exchange. A million people have lost their money. At least 1 million people have lost their savings and super, but there's others that have lost big money that can afford to lose big money, but a lot of people that couldn't afford to lose it. So he SBF bought into Effective Altruism, and where he was funneling his profits, he was, I think he had something like 26 billion. He was a billionaire. He was funneling that into research into artificial intelligence and other things as well. That we might take a look at him at some stage. But he was the poster boy of the EA movement.
Effective Altruism movement.
So in closing, any questions so far? Oh, we've got some hands up. Graham.
With the example that was given before about the mathematical equation to give how it was first directed to women for the, I can't remember the word that you're using for the illness that they were suffering from.
The Fistula Foundation.
So maths, as you said, doesn't lie, and as they quoted, doesn't lie. But if you've got It's based on parameters. So the information that you're entering into this program, it allows you to determine what is the best way to spend the money. If that was based on a patriarchal society, wouldn't that sway the numbers to also keep the money headed in a way that benefits further a patriarchal society? Does that make sense?
Yes, and that is one of the criticisms of them, is that, see, they're giving not because of emotion, but they are actually giving to feel good, to get the warm, fuzzy feeling. So the more effective they are, the more the maths adds up, the bigger the warm, fuzzy feeling. Right? They're kidding themselves. But in doing the maths, it's trying to be effective from a rational reasoning, what's I going to say? Oh, I lost my train of thought. I was heading somewhere. Sorry, Graham. What did you say again?
I was just asking whether the numbers that they had to enter into this algorithm that told them the best place to spend their money. This is obviously skewed by patriarchal. I'll stop there. You've got your thought.
Yes, thank you. Sorry. Is they're not dealing with the systemic problems. It is a feel good. And they're not dealing with things with corruption or patriarchy or racism, sexism, all those things. As long as there's a lot of what they do is say buy mosquito nets. So that children, adults won't get malaria. That sounds good. I mean, it is good. But it's basing it on mathematical equations when they go to countries to give those bed nets. So take Peter Singer, right? Do I save this child in the pond here? Or can I say, with that same money, I could probably save 5 children for the cost of my suit and shoes in a third world country? But what if, to save that child in a third world country, I had to give I had to kill a person to save 5 kids by giving the government guns. So international aid is complicated. You have to deal with corruption. There's a lot. That is another rabbit hole to go down. Is the problem with international aid. And you put aid into Syria, the biggest refugee camp in the world, I think, is in Syria. It's big anyway. The government takes 50% off the top. So you can do the math where it looks like you're benefiting a whole heap of people, but what's going on behind the scenes, that's not really what's taken into account, because it's not what they believe is it's top down. We're the smart ones. We determine where the money goes. That's not human rights. Human rights is listening to the people saying, we have the needs. Please listen to us. We'll tell you where it's best spent. The people in the country, the people, individuals in need know the experts to know what their needs are. And there's so many examples of bad international aid where the locals just haven't been considered. So, and just to continue on from your point, Graham, with the math, is the math that they're using is to do
Method yavanoshandisa iyi ndeyekudhila nemaprobability.
It's a counterfeit of
I-counterfeit
what we do. They're
yezvatinoita.
predicting.
Ivo
In
vari
long-termism, they're
kupredicta.
predicting, but they're
Kulong-termism
predicting
vanotopredictawo
based on
asi
probabilities. You
vachibhesa
can't predict
nemaprobability.
based on a
Haukono
probability.
predicta uchibhesa neprobability.
Probability is not
Probability
predictability.
haisi predictability.
Prophecy
Prophecy
is predictable.
ndiyo inopredicta.
Maths and probability
Maths
isn't.
neprobability
But they've turned these
hazvipredicta. Asi
probability
vakatora
calculuses
maprobability aya
into
nemacalculations
a
acho
form of
vakaita kuti
prophecy
ive form
of what
yeprophecy
could happen, will
yekuti
happen,
zvinogona
might
kuitika
happen,
so
will
zvinogona kuitika izvi
and
zvichaitika
it's
so
not
asi hazvisi
it's not reasonable either. But
hazvisi
people are
reasonable
buying into
asi vanhu vari
these they get hypnotized by math.
vari kutohypnotizwa
It
nemaths
really
idzi
looks impressive.
zvinoita kunge zviri impressive chaizvo
So the math
zvichiratidzika saka
draws
maths
the brain
ndidzo
and they get wowed.
dzinodonza
And then
pfungwa
they
dzavo
work out
ubva
what's
vava
so
wowed.
effective, and that gives
Vanowork
the warm
out
and
vanoti
fuzzy
zvinhu
feeling.
zviri
And if
effective
you're a
obva
billionaire
vanzwa vachidzirwa kana uri
and
billionaire
you're, millionaire, you've got a lot of money,
une mari yakawanda
and you want to have that,
woti
warm and fuzzy feeling,
ndoda kuve
then let's put
nekunzwa
it
kudzirwa
into,
ngatiisei
don't
mari
worry about world hunger, don't worry about the floods in
musava
Pakistan,
nebasa
don't worry about that, because that's
nenzara
inconsequential,
nemafloods
that is a rounding
hazvina
error.
maconsequence aya
But I
irounding
could put
error
it into a think
asi ndogona
tank
kuiisa
that
muthink
is
tank
working on all the
iri
problems to do with
kushanda
AI,
nematambudziko
and a lot of
eai
people having fun with computer
vanhu vese
simulations,
vari kuita
and
fani
I can feel really
nemacomputer
good about
simulations
myself.
ndobva ndanzwa
I can feel
ndichidzirwa chaizvo
I'm not
ndobva
only
kuti
doing
handisi
something
kungoita chinhu
that is morally good,
chingori
I
morally
am doing
good
the best
ndiri kutoita
moral thing that can
the
be done,
best moral thing
because
chinogona
that's what the
kuitika
numbers
pasi
tell me.
pano nekuti ndo zvandaudzwa nemanumbers.
So what we're
Saka
seeing down
zvatiri
here
kuona
is
panapa
a
ndezvekuti
combination
pane
of
combination
Nick Bostrom's
yaNick Bostrom
thoughts regarding
pfungwa dzake maererano
philosophies regarding
nephilosophy
artificial intelligence,
yeartificial intelligence
posthumanism, combined with
posthumanism
effective altruism,
zvakabatanidzwa
and they're
neeffective
building
altruism
this
vachivaka
castle in the sky
castle iyi
that's
mumhepo
pretty much starting to come down because of
yaakutanga
the
kutodonha
cryptocurrency
nekuti
collapse, but it's
cryptocurrency
still.
yakadonha
So this book
asi
that Bostrom wrote
bhuku iri
in
rakanyorwa nabostrom
2014,
muna
who wrote the
2014
forward for it? Bill Gates.
Bill Gates
Who
ndiye
recommended
akanyora
and
forward
tweeted
yacho
it? Elon Musk.
Elon Musk akarirekomenda
And
akaritweeta
put $1 million
vakaisa
into
million dollars dzavo
his foundation,
mufoundation iyoyi
Future for Humanity
Future for
Foundation.
Humanity
So
Foundation
this is where big money
ndo
is
kunoenda
going.
mari
So just
dzakawanda
talking about
tichingotaurawo
counterfeit.
nezvecounterfeit
We can see the counterfeit in the 10%.
nogona
That's an easy
kucounterfeit
one. But we're
mu10%
also long
zviri nyore
termists,
asi
aren't
tiri
we?
malong
We're
termist
long
hatizo here
termists. We're
tiri malong
thinking of
termist tiri kutifunga
eternity. We're
nezveeternity
planning for eternity.
tikufunga
So
nezveeternity saka
we're planning for
tikuplana
posthumanism, when this
nezveposthumanism
mortal puts on immortality and this
apo
corruption puts
chinoora
on
chopfeka
incorruption.
kusaora corruption
What they're
yopfeka
doing is really
zvisiri
counterfeiting
corrupt zvavari
what
kuita vari kuita
God's kingdom
counterfeit
is going to
umambo
provide for.
hwamwari kuti huchapa chii
So
saka
Graham, you've got your hand up a couple
Graham
of times. Is there
wanga uine
something you wanted to
ruoko
add to that?
pane zvanga uchida kuwedzera here
No, that's from something previous. Thank you.
pane zvazviri kure kure zvanaida
Thank you.
kuwedzera
And Molly?
Molly
No, I was just thinking how
Thank you,
they're smart in the counterfeit using mathematics.
kuti counterfeit iri mumaths here
Because math, that's the lie, and to them, as long as the numbers add up, it gives them good feelings.
zvinovapa
But
magood
not knowing
feelings
the fraud and everything else that happened
kana
behind the
vaedha
scene.
manhamba vasingazivi
It sounds like a
zvekuitika
very
kuseri
complicated plan of salvation.
inoita kunge plan of salvation iri very complicated
Because life is complicated
nekuti upenyu huri
and giving is
complicated
complicated.
kupa kuri
And we
complicated
need all
tinonida
and intelligence is
intelligence
complicated.
iri
It's not just
complicated
rationality.
haisingori
We'll look at that
rationality tichatarisa izvi
in the future as well.
kumberi zvakare
So,
Saka.
so what we've done is we've just kind of just followed through the development of
tatarisa
the philosophy and
madevelopments
how we've ended up
ephilosophy
with long-termism
takazogumira sei
and
long-termism uye
that you can't separate long-termism
haugoni
from effective
kuseparata
altruism.
long-termism kubva kueffective
It
altruism
was only a few months ago that
mwedzi
this was
mishoma
really
yapfuura
not in mainstream media. It was some people called it the most dangerous philosophy that nobody knows about until the collapse of FTX. And now, so we might continue on that. So it was gaining, especially with this book, it was getting a lot of good publicity. New York Times, Vox, Washington Post was the only one that really had articles saying there's something not right here. So, but there were other papers that were buying in to this religion. So if nobody else has anything, any comments, any closing comments or questions? So we're jumping into Dragon and this movement that is under the umbrella of Dragon Power, spiritualism, which is another counterfeit of God's kingdom. Looks a little different to the counterfeit. They dress in different clothes, go to different schools, but it's counterfeit. So it's just a different child, but it has the characteristics of the parent as well. So on that note, we will close in prayer. And Molly, would you close in prayer for us this evening?
Loving God, we are so thankful that we have just finished our study, and we thank that you have gathered us all together in this opening Sabbath to study more and to know, Lord, what the world are doing, and also, Lord, to understand what the movement are doing. And I thank you that you have guided Elder Terrie in the thoughts and the study for tonight. And I pray that you may continue to bless her with wisdom, and also the elders, Elder Tess and Elder Pamela, and all the leaders around the world. I pray also, Lord, for the member of the movement, that we being encouraged, and may we continue to study hard and learn the message as you have given us to prepare us, Lord, for the great work ahead. And I pray that you may be with each and every one of us tonight as we rest for tomorrow to continue our study. And I thank you that you have helped us. In Jesus' wonderful name. Amen.